My fellow Americans, for many nights we have sat together in this quiet, shared space, a space created not by brick and mortar, but by the internet that connects us across the vastness of our great nation. We began with a simple but profound question. How can we, the people, build a better, more just nation? We looked not to new and fashionable theories, but to the bedrock of reason for our foundation. We rediscovered the timeless wisdom of our founders in what we have called the moral algorithm, the simple, powerful, and revolutionary idea that a republic must serve the common good of all its people, not the private interests of a powerful few. From there, we have journeyed together through every room of our American house, taking stock of its condition. We've looked at the kitchen tables where families struggle with rising bills and stagnant wages. We've peered into the empty storefronts on main streets that were once the heartbeats of our communities. We have felt the chill in the halls of government, where the voices of the people are too often drowned out by the rustle of money. We have examined the cracks in the walls and the rot in the foundations, but we have not despaired. Instead, we have sketched out the blueprints for a great renewal, a renewal of our economy, our justice system, our communities, our democracy, and even our understanding of what it means to live a life of purpose. But to complete this journey, to turn these blueprints into a reality, we must first face squarely the three great questions that confront any people in a time of crisis. How did we get here? Where are we now? And how, together, do we fix it? The house divided, how we got here. The story of how we arrived at this perilous moment is the story of a promise made, and then a promise broken. It is a story of a glorious ideal and a tragic compromise that has haunted us from our very beginning. The promise was born centuries ago, an idea that slowly and honestly, pretty painfully, fought its way into the world during the great age of enlightenment. The idea of human rights. This was, well, a thunderclap in the history of civilization. A revolutionary declaration that you possess fundamental rights simply because you are human, rights endowed by nature and God, not by kings or by governments. This concept, that power has limits, that every person has inherent dignity, was our nation's founding creed. The Declaration of Independence is America's most profound expression of the moral algorithm, the self-evident truth that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed to secure the rights and happiness of the people. This was our North Star. But even as we set that star in the sky, a shadow was cast. A poison was seeded into the very soil of our new republic. We spoke the universal language of human rights, but our laws began to build a wall around that promise, defining who was truly included in the phrase, "we the people." The very first Naturalization Act, passed by our first Congress in 1790, limited the precious gift of American citizenship to free white persons. With that single act, we gave birth to a fiction, a legal and social invention we have come to call whiteness. It is not a color. Our nation is a tapestry of every shade of complexion. It is not a culture. Our strength is drawn from the traditions of every corner of the earth. No, it is a construct, a set of rules, a club with special privileges, built to decide who was on the inside of the promise and who was on the outside. It was a system designed to channel the immense wealth of this new land. From the farmsteads granted to settlers, to the GI Bill home loans that built our suburbs after the Second Great War, toward one group, converting a legal status into tangible, generational wealth. This, my friends, was the original sin against the moral algorithm. It was the codifying of a private interest based not on virtue or hard work, but on a manufactured and unscientific definition of race. For generations, this system of privilege operated in the background, a deep and dangerous crack in the foundation of our house. And when a new, corrosive philosophy began to take hold in the 1970s, it found that crack and drove a powerful wedge deep into it. This was the birth of what we now call neoliberalism. It arrived cloaked in the language of freedom, but honestly, it was a narrow, cold, and impoverished freedom. The freedom of the market to be unrestrained by morality, the freedom of the corporation to maximize profit above all else, and the freedom of the wealthy to accumulate endless power and hoard it for themselves. It was a direct and frontal assault on the moral algorithm. It declared that the common good was a dangerous illusion, that society itself did not exist, and that the only thing that mattered was private interest and personal gain. This philosophy, the worship of the market and the abandonment of the common good, is the source of the illness that now grips our nation. It taught us to see each other not as fellow citizens bound by a common destiny, but as competitors in a ruthless game. It replaced the idea of a society with the idea of an economy, and well, it has brought us to this perilous moment. The fever breaking where we stand today. Tonight, the state of our union is fragile. The fever born of those 50 years of neglect, and of the much older poison of division in our foundation, is breaking, and the symptoms of this illness are all around us. We see a government mired in gridlock, consumed by a partisan fury that is about more than just policy. We hear it in the shouting on the television, we read it in the bitterness of online debates, and we feel it around our own family dinner tables. This fury is born of a nation that was taught to see itself not as a family with shared responsibilities, but as a collection of competing interests fighting over a shrinking pie. We see this most painfully in our deep and tragic divisions over immigration, where protests and civil unrest erupt over policies that feel both ineffective and inhumane. Our economy, too, is trapped in this web of division and uncertainty. The threat of tariffs and trade wars promises only higher costs for American families and more instability for our businesses and farms. But the problem runs deeper. Millions of our people are trapped in a gig economy with no security, no benefits, and no future. Our young people are crushed by mountains of student debt for an education that should be a gateway to opportunity, not a lifetime burden. The inevitable result is a spiritual crisis. A deep and pervasive cynicism has taken hold, a feeling that the game is rigged, that the system is broken beyond repair, and this feeling is not an illusion. When a society is built on a legal fiction that grants unearned privilege to one group over others, that is the very definition of a rigged game. When corporations can write the laws that are supposed to regulate them, that is a rigged game. This despair is the greatest threat to our republic, because a people who no longer believe in the possibility of good government will soon find themselves living under a very bad one. The path to a republic reborn, how do we fix it? Well, we are not a people who surrender to despair. Our history is honestly a story of renewal, of facing our deepest challenges and through common effort, emerging stronger and more united. The blueprints for our next American founding are already in our hands. And really, they are a holistic vision where every part strengthens the whole. First, we must restore our moral compass. We will use the moral algorithm as the guiding star for all public policy. And we will empower every citizen with the moral algorithm tool based upon it, so that you no longer need to rely on the word of politicians or pundits. Just imagine being able to take any proposed law, any budget, any new regulation, paste it into the tool and see for yourself a clear, unbiased analysis of who truly benefits and who pays the cost. This is not a substitute for judgment, but a tool for it. It is the foundation of an informed, unconquerable citizenry. Second, we will build an economy of security and opportunity for all. We will implement a universal basic income built by extending our current social security system, providing an economic floor beneath every American family, a foundation upon which they can build a life of dignity. And how will we pay for it? Well, we will do so not by punishing work, but by implementing a sovereign wealth fund powered by a fair land value tax, a natural resource bank, an automation tax, a high-speed trading tax, and a carbon fee and dividend. This means we will tax the unearned wealth that comes from merely owning land in a prime location, not the hard work you put into building a home or a business upon it. This will be delivered through a public postal banking system, which was once the financial foundation of our society, available in every community, ending the predatory practices of payday lenders and check cashing services. For the millions without access to a bank, this means no more fees that steal your hard-earned wages. It means a safe place to save and a simple way to pay your bills. This is how we end poverty and unleash the entrepreneurial spirit of our people. Third, we will reclaim our democracy. For too long, we have been trapped in the lesser of two evils system. We will abolish it by adopting score voting. Think of it as being like rating a product online. You can give 5 stars to the candidate you love, 4 to the one you like, and 1 to the one you can barely tolerate. This allows you to express your true preference without fear of wasting your vote, and it rewards candidates who build consensus, not division. We will secure our elections with modern, verifiable technology that includes a voter-verified paper trail, and we will encourage full participation by making Election Day a national holiday and implementing automatic voter registration. We must remove barriers to voting, not erect them. Fourth, we will build a system of true justice. We will end the national disgrace of mass incarceration and the militarization of our police forces. We will create a community responder corps. This means that instead of sending a police officer with a gun to someone having a mental health crisis or a substance abuse problem, we will send a trained medic and a social worker, the right help for the right crisis. We will solve problems, not just make arrests. We will end the profound injustice of cash bail, which keeps the poor in jail while the wealthy go free. And we will create an elite, well-funded public defender corps, ensuring that the quality of justice you receive no longer depends on the size of your wallet, because justice must never be a luxury item. Fifth, we will rebuild our communities and our sense of purpose. We will revitalize our towns and neighborhoods by fostering third places, vibrant public libraries, community centers, and local makerspaces. These will be places with tools and technology, from workshops to 3D printers, where you can learn a new skill, start a small business, or simply build something with your own 2 hands, together with your neighbors. And for those whose jobs are displaced by technology, we will create a new National Restoration Corps, offering a living wage to do the vital, honorable work of a nation, healing our planet by replanting our forests and cleaning our rivers, and healing our people by caring for our elderly and tutoring our children. And finally, we will cultivate the next generation of citizens. None of this is sustainable without an education system that prepares children for a lifetime of creative, critical thinking. We cannot expect our people to govern themselves if we do not teach them how. By embracing the proven principles of Montessori, the Trivium, project-based learning, and by integrating essential life skills from financial literacy and first aid to media literacy and civics, we will raise children who are not just prepared for a job, but prepared for the profound work of self-governance. My fellow Americans, this is not a distant dream. This is a practical plan. Every piece connects. Every solution reinforces the others. It is a comprehensive vision for a nation that is more secure, more just, more connected, and more free. The road from where we are today is long and it will be difficult, but it is a road that leads home, back to the best version of ourselves. The blueprints are in our hands. Now it is time to do the work. Good night.